People with pets that are really not bright. What are your stupid pet stories? I had a farm cat when I was a teenager that loved to climb up and sit on the roof. Problem was, he had the habit of rolling over for a tummy rub whenever he saw a person, so it was a distressingly common occurrence to walk near the house and have him roll right off the roof. You'd think after the first 3 times he'd have learned, but no, he lived a long life despite himself. I had a Siamese mix that used to do the same thing off the fireplace mantle every dang day. I have a 6-year-old cat that still doesn't know how doors work. When you open the door to let her out, she runs behind it and tries to go through the crack by the hinges. She'll stand there meowing at you like, I can't fit through here, do something. Yet our kitty will sit at the patio door, which is open, and meow to get in. Jesus Christ, kitty, just walk through. My dog likes to play fetch with tiny objects. She's brought me a blade of grass, a tiny stone, blossom, a seed, stuff so small that it just sticks to her tongue and she has to lick you a few times to get it to stick to your leg. Then she just nudges it until you attempt to throw it. I once had a dog that would spend all day chasing shadows and reflections on the walls. When he caught them he would just sit and lick the wall. He could have easily licked the wall for hours on end. My sister is a veterinarian and they once had an office dog named 38 cents because that's how much change they recovered from his stomach. I wonder if that's how 50 Cent got his name. This isn't unique because I've seen other dogs do it. When she was a puppy my dog would bury her toys in the middle of the room. She'd dig the carpet, making a hole. She'd then meticulously place the toy in the hole, then bury it with her paws and nose, shoveling the supposed dirt over it. There'd just be a ball in the middle of the floor but she was satisfied it was buried and she'd trot off happily. I was always amazed at my uncle's dog. I gave her a treat one week and she took it and buried it. A few weeks later she came back, looked at me, then ran and dug up her treat and ate it like the happiest dog ever. So far, my cat Jack has fallen headfirst into a kitchen trash can and a toilet, fell off a windowsill after biting his tail, tried to jump on my bed like it was a trampoline, only to fall off of the bed, get his head stuck in a glass of beer, get his fat butt stuck in my boot, long story, and get the crap kicked out of him by Misty, my other cat, because she caught him sleeping in her favorite cat bed. There is a good reason why his nickname is Barker-chan. Get his fat butt stuck in my boot. Long story, tell all. My wife heard the cat screaming like it was being mauled by a lion. She went outside and looked under the house to see the cat being mauled by a lizard on her paw. Mom, it's touching me. Gross. My little cat got stuck under the couch because she forgot how she got under there. I had to rescue her because she wouldn't stop screaming. She's beautiful and very sweet and loving but the inbreeding shows. I got a sister like that. I have a really old, really stupid cockatiel named Stina. Every Monday when the garbage truck comes the noise of it wakes her up. But because the cover is over the cage she can't see anything and so she starts screaming. It's like she's thought, oh crap, I've gone blind. She likes to waddle around the floor with my other cockatiel, Alex, who is her mate, but she'll walk behind the curtain and then freak out because she can't see Alex and thinks he's vanished. So she starts screaming again. She likes to chew through perches while she's standing on the perch. This weekend I bought a new doormat for the balcony, but I can't use it because for some reason Tina thinks this freaking doormat is the most terrifying thing in the world. She just froze in place with her crest up and wouldn't move until I took the doormat away. My dog continuously, usually more than once a day, almost every day for years, goes into a room, closes the door, and then a few hours later barks at us to open it. She hasn't learned yet. Yep. We have to leave our bathroom door shut when we're not home because our lab mix will get in there and accidentally shut the door with his big lab deadly tail. Then he freaks out because he can't get out. My dog used to scratch his ear so much with his back foot that he would hurt his ear and then bite his own foot to teach it a lesson. I have a Corgi Aussie mix. He's got the corgi length and is stubby. Whenever we get a big snow, he'll waddle up to a tree and lift his leg to pee. Throws his whole body into the motion, teeters, and then slowly falls over onto his side. He'll casually get back up and waddle back to the sidewalk like nothing happened. I don't know how he doesn't constantly fall over while peeing. He doesn't just casually lift a leg, he commits like he's doing Parker. I knew a woman who owned an elderly basset hound, male. She said finally they had to make him wear an elastic hairband around his waist so that could get his willy off the ground, also out of the snow. One day, after we had gotten 7 or 8 inches of snow, my cat decided to be a brave adventurer and dash out of the door. She knows she absolutely hates snow, but always does this. I must also note that she has no clue what the frick to do when she gets outside. She starts making this ridiculous meow scream that is mind-blowingly hilarious. She runs out, jumps into the snow and disappears. I'm sitting there letting her learn her lesson. I hear a muffled meow scream as she very slowly lifts her head up above the snow. Her mouth stays wide open, her eyes pure in total regret, and continues to stare at me doing this meow until I came and picked her up. She did it again an hour later. So and I have 2 cats, Carl and Lucy. I've had Carl for much longer. He's my bro, always follows me, sleeps on my face every night, massages my scalp when he's hungry in the early morning. I love the little guy, he's a dwarf, more than anything. But Lucy has made me realize over the last few months that either Carl is an idiot or Lucy is brilliant. It's definitely the former. Lucy nudges not quite closed doors open with her head. Carl tries and usually fails to wrench them open by putting his paws under the crack and prying or pushing, often opening and closing the door multiple times as he tries to figure it out. Lucy watches patiently as I poo, knowing she'll get her cuddles soon. Carl jumps on my lap, assuming it's belly rub time. Lucy slices open thin food liners, potato chip bags, mostly, and feasts. Carl gets his head stuck inside the bag and stumbles around the apartment completely blind. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten home from work to find him with an empty bag of Doritos on his head. Lucy hangs out and watches the water fall during showers. Carl hops in and gets soaked for a brief moment before realizing his error and bolting. Almost every freaking morning, Lucy watches birds and rabbits from the window. Carl pounces at them, straight into the window. Lucy naps on my lap, knowing she'll get some lovin'. Carl naps on my neck, apparently not knowing he'll get removed. Lucy toys with the Christmas ornaments. I know it's early, but the so treats decorating the same way I treat Destiny or Diablo. Carl gets trapped inside the tree for several hours at a time. Lucy drinks from the toilet if left open. Carl falls into the toilet if left open. Lucy got fixed last week and has a cone. Cole somehow managed to get it off of her and stuck on his own head, backwards. I guess there's nothing particularly funny, just a lot of small, dumb things that make me chuckle on a daily basis. Lucy got fixed last week and has a cone. Cole somehow managed to get it off of her and stuck on his own head, backwards. Cannot stop laughing. When my dog was a puppy, she was convinced our TV was a window. When we lived in our apartment, behind our TV was the stairs up to the bedrooms. More than once when we were watching shows with animals and then she would run up the stairs to right behind the TV looking for those animals. Not long after we'd first gotten her, we were lying on our bed watching her drink water. It was a sight to see. Water went everywhere, and she'd gone on so long my husband called her name. She looked up mid-drink and choked herself on the water. She also had never seen stairs before we got her, so she watched our other dog who had exceptionally short legs hop up and down the stairs. So until the day we moved, this long-legged, clumsy as heck, can't lift a leg to scratch without falling over German Shepherd hopped up and down the stairs, too. When I got my husky, I already had a 12-year-old lab mix. My lab would climb up onto beds and couches since he could no longer jump. Even though I've seen my husky jump over our entire couch while playing, he still slowly climbs one paw at a time to get on the bed or couch to lay down 7 years later. We had an adorable greyhound called Bertie, who was sadly put to sleep last month. Definitely the Kevin of the canine world. One time we were having some fencing replaced in the back garden, and when we got back from our walk the workmen had taken down all of the fencing but left the gate standing. Bertie stood by the gate waiting for it to be opened despite the fact that he could have easily walked round either side. I tried pushing him round. Nope. Just wagged his tail and looked at me. Walked round myself and tried to let him. Nope. I had to actually open the gate, whereupon he happily trotted through. The workmen were pee themselves laughing. He'd also regularly wake himself up with his own farts and stare accusingly at us. Like, hey, who threw that firecracker and woke me up? Miss him every day. My cat won't use the litter box. He poops in the potted plants around the house, but not the real ones. He only poops in the fake plants, and that's why his name is Dipshit. My roommate has a cat that can't take a poop in the litter box. The cat just sits next to the box and puts his front paws in, thinks he is in the clear and poops all over the floor. Same cat, different story. To solve the problem, my roommate got a higher translucent box which would force the cat to completely sit in it to poop. He didn't get it though, so my roommate picks the cat up, places it in the box, and the cat completely freaks out. Doesn't realize there is a box around him and starts to hit the box with his head trying to get out. Funny stuff. Last story, still same cat. So my roommate had this litter box with a cat flap. Cat doesn't realize he is supposed to go inside, but instead hops onto the box and poops. Thing is, the poop scoop was on the litter box and the cat completely crap all over the handle. Still not sure if this was a stupid or brilliant pet move. At least the poor thing is trying. Could be like my cat. If she thinks her litter box is too dirty, she'll come find me, stand on the opposite side of the room, and do her business while looking me straight in the eyes like this is your fault. She's right. It is my fault. As long as I'm not lazy and clean it regularly, we have no issues. My cat doesn't know how to bury his poop. He just hits the wall of the poo box repeatedly, then leaves the poop on top without so much as remotely disturbing the litter around the poop. I have a cat that does that too. Then his brother goes in after him and buries it for him every time. My cat will randomly attack her back legs. She'll be grooming herself. Then her leg will get in the way and accidentally boop her nose or something. So she'll bite it. Then get confused that her paw hurts and start kicking out at whatever hurt her. Her face. And it turns into a bitty, scratchy cycle until she gives up and looks sad. I had a bird sitting outside my window and my cat wanted to get it. She started sprinting full speed, slamming face first into the glass. To make things worse, she didn't seem to learn from it. My cat did this for 2 years with a mirror. My cat likes to play with plastic Easter eggs. She picks a half up into her mouth and trots around with it, yowling all the while, with the egg functioning as an amplifier. One year we got the kids these big eggs full of candy, and eventually she found one and tried to play with it the same way, except when she picked it up, it flipped up over face and covered her eyes. She panicked and started running around like "AW my god, I am blind," clanging into the baseboard heaters and whatever else. It was hysterical. She finally dropped it and stood there dazed. I can see again, it is a miracle. Oh look, an egg, and picked up the egg and did it again and again and again. I finally threw the dang thing away because she would do it in middle of the night. Must not die laughing. At work. Must adult. Rusty has so many. He regularly puts his head in the way when our other dog is peeing, and thus gets pee all over his head. We have gotten good at pulling him away in time, but sometimes the other dog still gets him. This dog cannot find his way out from under a blanket. If you put one over him, he'll struggle with it for about 30 seconds. Then he just gives up and lays down. He won't move until someone comes to take the blanket off. He loves chasing tennis balls, but if he doesn't see where it goes when it's flying through the air, there is no hope he will ever find it. That dog could search the backyard for hours, and he wouldn't find a ball in front of his face. He regularly tries to go through spaces too small for him, and he gets stuck. We have a glass table. Rusty loves to sit underneath it and stare up. If you drop a piece of food onto the glass table, he searches the floor for a couple minutes, not ever understanding why there isn't food on the floor. He is 9. He's had some time to figure it out. We thought my cat was blind. She would be sitting with us, and then walk into the other room and start crying because she didn't know where we were. When we called her name, she would stop crying, come back, and sit with us again. Her vision is fine. She's just dumb. IDK if it's stupid cause it's a herding dog, but my Australian Shepherd tries to herd any frickin' vehicle that enters the driveway, and by herding mean running around the vehicle full speed while nibbling at the tires until the vehicle either stops or drives out of its invisible fenced area. I've got a border collie. She will try to herd literally anything. People, cars, bikes, other dogs, birds, sticks, even a pond once. She's never been a working dog and has no idea what she's doing, but that doesn't stop her. The last 2 collies we had were exactly the same. One of my cats jumped down from the breakfast bar and landed on her face. She didn't even put her paws out to stop herself, just went splat. Same cat also decided to walk past the remains of fresh chicken my mom had left out to cool so the animals could have some later. Instead of the chicken she ate the asparagus instead. If you left a cauliflower out she'd eat all the leaves. From you Rob Ed Life. My dog Charlie refuses to move if you put a sweater on her. She will literally just stand still. We tested for how long, and the answer is 8 hours. She finally moved when the sweater was removed. So they found her off switch. Not mine, but I lived with him. Buddy's bulldog was chasing my dog and my dog ran around a bar stool, and the bulldog had this brilliant idea to jump through the bar stool legs above the footrest cross support. Got halfway in and got stuck and the bar stool fell over with him in it. Never seen a dog so panicked in my life. I couldn't stop laughing for 20 minutes. My best friend's dog couldn't walk without prancing when he was a puppy, and he couldn't stop himself in time from running into walls. We liked to crank up Indestructible Disturbed and watch him prance around. It was hilarious. Well, chickens are not bright. I have a giant roux named Roger. He was trying to visit his lady friend who was inside the coop. He was outside the cooperative. The coop has little glass windows at about chicken eye level. Roger was frantically pecking the window and throwing himself at it in order to gain entry, right next to the open door. So to help out, I grabbed him and placed him directly in front of the open door, to which he let out an exasperated complaint and ran back to the window, pecking and flailing with all his chicken might. We repeated this about 5 times until the girl chicken eventually left the cooperative. My German Shepherd, Wilma, chased a bird through a window. My Irish Wolfhound, Betty, ran through a glass door that had just been replaced the day before. My St. Bernard, Captain, once lifted his mammoth paw and intentionally ripped through a screen door so he could go outside. So his isn't so much stupid as it was spiteful and crappy. My dogs don't do well with the concept of see-through barriers to the great outdoors. It's becoming systematic. My cat Myrtle has a thing for the shower curtain. I was showering a couple of weeks ago and she dived at it. She ended up in the shower with me covered in foam. Shower was slippery and no matter how fast she tried to run she was going nowhere. I get the impression it was one of those I'm only ever going to do that once moments. My cat does basically the same thing. She goes in between the fabric and plastic curtains and likes to watch me shower, pour at water droplets through the plastic. She's a special one. My boyfriend has even called her my shower buddy, she does it so often. Found my dog licking an unconscious baby rattlesnake in my backyard. Stopped her, put the snake in a jar, then marveled at my dog's complete lack of animal instincts. My terrier likes to whip garter snakes into the air. We walk along these old railroad tracks and they like to bask on the metal. The snakes are harmless, but I'll be walking along, then suddenly a snake will come flying up at my face. He has unerring aim for a tiny tufted moron. TLDR. Large cat miscalculated his jump to the windowsill. Faceplanted the wall. I have a 20-pound black Persian can named Sherman. Sherm is fairly inbred, if I understand his family history the way I do. Not the brightest candle in the box, but I love his derpy butt dearly. So anyway, he comes into the room and I can tell he wants to jump up onto the windowsill to look outside. I'm sitting on the couch which is against the wall and perpendicular to the window. Now he could have easily jumped up to the sill from the floor, but in his lazy little mind he decided to jump up on the couch and then the window. The only problem is that I'm sitting on the couch and in his line of trajectory, I see him wiggle his fat butt and make a run for it. In his attempt to jump over my lap, he misses his footing, manages to scratch the crap out of my leg, and ends up faceplanting right into the wall under the window. And he hits it hard. Just imagine 20 pounds of cat and full speed slamming into the plaster wall. I'm pretty sure the house shook. He wasn't seen for a while after he bolted out of the room, licking his wound and tending to his shame. My cat is very lazy and overweight, so I bought one of those motorized toys that spin around a stick with a feather on the end of it. I think it was recommended by Jackson Galaxy. I put the cat next to the toy and turn it on. She just sits there, not moving at all, while the stick spins around repeatedly hitting her in the face. She finally looks at me like I am abusing her and lets out a little cry. I threw the toy in the garbage. We got one of these for our 3-year-old before we had our kitten. She would kitten flop and lay in one area and bat at it when it came to her. Nice summer day, everyone outside, meat on the grill, and the dogs on their tie downs. A couple of burgers stay in the fire too long and get burned. Toss them to the dogs. Our older dog, a border collie chow mix, looks at his treat, walks over to sniff it, and eyeballs the months-old puppy across the yard. Once he sees that the pup can't get to his treat, he lays down to let the meat cool. This puppy is long and all limbs. We were told he was a Lab Retriever mix, but we aren't sure since he is white with black spots. Whatever breed this goofball is, he's large for such a young pup and not due to stop growing anytime soon. He tears around the house with all the floppy rubbery agility of any other puppy and spots the treat. He leaps, mouth engulfing the burger. Hot, hot, as his mouth gets burned, he jumps back and hunkers down. He starts barking at the burger. I swear, I could see my older dog chuckling. I once watched my cat panic at the sight of a sock that had been on the floor for 3 weeks. He turned and bolted straight into the couch, which made him panic and bolt right into the same part of the couch, both times head first. When we first got him, we lived in this huge, slightly dilapidated, freezing cold house with tile floors in every room. Pikachu's favorite game ever was to sprint across the house, jump onto an area rug, and skid across the floor until he rammed into the walls. Every rug, in every room, every day. We finally just all bought slippers and gave up on the rugs. I came home with chic filet once, and after I ate it all of it I got up and left the room for a minute. I come back to see my poor, stupid dog stumbling around the room with an empty Chick-fil-A bag stuck on his face, bumping into crap and trying to shake the bag off his head. I can remember few times in my life I've ever laughed that hard. That's what you get for trying to steal my food, you little sucker. We had to put him down earlier this year at the age of 15. I miss him. I have 2 dumb cats, Frisky and Pesky. They were born feral, under a friend's porch. Frisky used to think he was a dog. He would play fetch with and occasionally swallow thrown hairbands, and we once caught him drinking out of the toilet. And Pesky used to think he was a baby. He would lie in a doll bed and my little sister would dress him up and he would drink out of a bottle. Here are their stories. Frisky and the cell phone charger. One day, Frisky discovered a plugged-in cell phone charger. He decided to lick it. He was promptly shocked and jumped back with a meow of pain. So he did it again. Shock, meow, and again. Shock, meow. At this point the charger was taken away so he wouldn't electrocute himself. Cats vs Christmas tree. We recently purchased a new Christmas tree due to cat damage. They love to bat at the ornaments. Normal, climb on the tree. Normal but destructive. And eat the light bulbs. Seriously, we lost an entire section of the tree lights because they ate so many. To this day we're not sure if they actually swallowed the glass or just spit it out. Frisky and Pesky is great escape. We keep our cats indoors because we're worried they might go out exploring and get lost and never come home. Our cats, being feral, tend to enjoy the outdoors. We mostly sate their desires by letting them out on the screened-in porch or with a leash. One day, someone left the porch door open, and Frisky and Pesky made a break for it. They didn't get far. Frisky stuck close to the house and meowed for help, while Pesky made it to the other side of a neighbor's house and then huddled in a corner in fear. Both cats were safely returned, and it seems they've learned their lesson. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.